Okay. So let's move on to chapter 7.1. Percent. Sales tax and discount. So it'll start off with just basically changing fractions to the decimals. So first example on page, let's see, page 70. Write the following as a decimal. So part A is 5/8. So all you got to do is use long division. So do 5 divided by 8. Put your decimal. A goes into 59 times, right? 9 times 8 is 40. Actually, it goes in. What was I saying? 6 times, not 9 times. 6 times 8 is 48, right? There we go. So subtract and you get 2. So since I started after the decimal, it'll go right here. There's really 0.6. I go again, add another 0, bring it down. A goes into 20 2 times. 2 times 8 is 16. Bring down the 4. Put another 0. Bring down the 0. 8 goes into 40. 5 times, right? But you keep going until you either hit 0 or you decide to round, because it's gonna, some of them will just go forever. You can always check yourself, right, with the calculator. Let's see here. Okay. 5 divided by 8 is 0.625. So all you have to do is divide them. I'm not going to make you do this, but it is good to know. So you know, like where it comes from. For example, this next one is 5/31/35 and 5 and 31/200. Yeah, there you go. So this piece right here is the decimal piece, right? So we don't have to worry about the 5. There's going to be 5 point something. I don't know. So what you can do is divide by 100 or 200. So it's really 0.155. So this extra piece is actually 5.155. So this fraction is actually the extra piece. So this is another way to think about this is 5 plus 31/200. That's what it means when they say, oh, it's 1 1/4. They're saying 1 plus quarter. Anyway, that's all you have to do is convert it to decimal. Changing fraction to decimal is a little bit different. Write the following as a fraction. So your calculator might be able to do this, but let's go ahead and try without it. So 0.35 as a fraction. So what you do is look at the biggest place, decimal place, or the smallest. This is the 3/10. This is the hundredths place, right? So you change this to 35 over 100 because it's in the hundreds place. And then reduce the fraction and you're done. So they're both divisible by 5, right? So that'll be 7 over 20. Now we can check ourselves. 7 divided by 20 is 0.35. Yeah. Now there is a button to change a decimal. So let's say you didn't want to do that, or you can press 0.35 and then it's second. See that FD right there? It should change it for us, yeah. 7/20. Okay, so I'm showing how to do it with my hand and with your machine. Part B, let's use the machine. 5.065 as a fraction. So that's going to be 5.065 to a fraction. So 10 over 200. If you want to change it to a mixed number, you use this button. See if it works. 5 and 13 200s. So either you use the improper fraction, 10/13 over 200, or 5 and 3 over 200. Another way to think about it is say, you know what, I know that this is a whole number right there, right? Just change this piece. So you could just say, you know what, I think it's 0.065 as a fraction. So just tack that on. Oops, should be 13. Just tack it onto the 5. That's this piece. So this right here is 13 over 200. And this is the whole number, right? Okay. Now, that's percentages to fractions. So part A, 56%. So remember we said percent means out of 100. Because percent means out of 100, so 56 out of 100. And then reduce this guy. You could reduce here. Let's see. 56 divided by 100. It's 0.56. Change it to fraction 1425. So divide by probably 4 would do it. Yeah. Divide both by 4 and you get 14/25, or use your calculator. Okay. Let's go to move on to example 4. Write the following as a percent. 3 and 5/16. Okay. It's easy to go from decimal to percent. So it'd be easier to change this to decimal first. Also, this 3 is a whole number. So that's already like 300% because it's a whole. Percentages should be less than 1, right? This is going to be a big percentage. So what we can do is change that 5/16 into a decimal and just tack that on. So this is the same as, or approximately as 3.3125. 3.3125. Now to change anything to percentage, just multiply by 100%. So it should be 331.25 percentage percent right there. So 300% plus some extra. So that's where we got this. Good. So whenever you see a fraction ending 1%, just change it to percent, to decimal first. That way it's super easy. This is part A. So for example, part B says 11 out of 12. Well, change it to decimal and then just multiply by 100. So that's going to be 91%, right? Got to round it somewhere, though. Now, let's move on to word problems. Let's go to number 7. Okay, so let's shift to the workbook. So I don't have to write that whole paragraph. Number 7. So Juan wants to purchase a new CD, price at $80. Okay, CD player. People still buy CD players? If the sales tax is 8.25% of the price, find the sales tax he will have to pay and find the total cost. Okay, so it's $80 plus tax, right? Whenever we go buy stuff, we always think about, okay, how much extra do I need, right? So if you multiply it by this percentage, that'll be the tax, and then you add it to the 80. So the total, I'll just call it total. Whenever you're calculating a price, it's going to be the price plus tax times price. So there's $80 plus 8.25%. I'm just wrote that out weird. Times 80. So I'll write it down on paper here. Total is equal to the price plus tax times price, which is going to be $80 plus 8.25% times 80. Okay, so let's do this on the paper. I can scan it later. 8.25 needs to be changed to a decimal though. So whenever you change the percent, you just move it twice or divide by 100 because that means out of 100, right? So 8.25 divided by 100. So this is a decimal you're going to multiply by. So it's going to be 80 plus 0.0825 times 80. So let's calculate the tax rate. So that times 80 is $6.6. So this is 6.6. So the total price he paid is 86.6. Right? Which seems reasonable, right? Always check yourself when you're finished. Like, okay, does this number make any sense? If I'm paying $10,000 afterward and the CD player is $80, clearly something's wrong. Okay. That makes sense though? Yeah, so whatever you're doing on a percentage, just change it to decimal and multiply it. But make sure you add it to the original. Okay, so they asked find the sales tax. So also have to make sure what they asked for. So all they wanted was the 660. I found the total, but they didn't want that. All right, number 8. If we were paid $35 in sales tax on a $400 TV, what is the sales tax rate? So they want to know the rate. So total is going to be 435, right? There's a couple ways we can do this. He paid $35 in sales tax. Price is 400. Price is 400. So we know that if we multiply the price times the tax, we get the tax, right? The tax rate. Tax rate times price gives me tax. So that means we can create a formula and say, well, tax rate is equal to, well, actually, let's do it this way. We'll have to solve for that. Tax is equal to tax rate times the price, right? We have the tax. We have the price. We don't have, we need this. This is what they're asking for. So divide price over. So then we get tax rate, create our own formula. That would be equal to the tax over divided by the price, which in this case would be $35 divided by 400. So this is my rate. So 0.0875 as a percent, you multiply by 100. So that is 8.75%. Okay. So that was the rate, 8.75. So let's move on to discounts and increases. Example 9, a tennis racket regularly sells for $96. It is on sale for 25% off. What is the new price? Okay. So I'm going to shorten that question here. Tennis racket is on sale for 25% off at $96. Okay. So okay, so usually it's $96, I should say. So if you take 25% off, so discount is going to be the original price minus the rate times the price. Let's see here. So let me write that better. We'll call it discount rate. So it was 96 minus 25% times 96. So that's going to be 96 minus, so changes to decimal, 0.25 times 96. Because you divide 25 by 100. So 96 times 0.25, 24. 96 minus 24, 72. So that's going to be the new price. So we're going to get 96 minus 24 equal to 72. So this is the discount price. So number 10 is it's the same thing when they want you to find the rate. Okay. Oops. 7.1. Okay, I think the rest are very similar. Say we go to 7.3. Yeah. On this paper. The simple interest, you're just going to need a formula for this. Not too bad. 7.3 simple interest. Before we start, let me give you all the formulas. Formulas. So A is equal to I plus I think it's P times one plus RT. So A is the future amount. P is the principal, like what you start with or what you owe. R is the rate, usually interest rate. T is going to be time, but it has to be in years. Okay. Now I can rearrange this formula for you. I can solve for P. P would be equal to A times 1 plus RT to the -1. So if they want principal, and they give you everything else, use this one. -1 on the parentheses. Now, if they want rate, you would have to solve for it. Use this A minus P over time as rate. So if you don't want to think about it too hard, you can use these formulas. time would be A minus P over R. Anyway, if they only want interest, you can use this one. Principal times R times time. Okay, so this should get you through 7-3, no problem. First example. So Max borrowed $4,000 at 6% simple interest for 2 years. What is the interest he had to pay and the total he had to pay back? So, okay. So A would be the total in our formulas. So in this question, write down everything. So P is what he started with. R is 6%. Time is 2 years. So I'll write all this down over here. Number one, P is 4,500. That's what he borrowed, right? He borrowed it at an interest rate of 6%. He paid it back in 2 years. Okay. Decimal rate has to be in decimal form. So divide by 100 to get this. So they want to know the interest. So first thing is find interest. P times R times time. So that will be 4,500 times 0.06 times 2. That would be 540. So that's how much he paid in interest. So how much would he have paid in total? Well, you just add it to here. 540 plus what he borrowed, that'd be the total. Or you can use this formula, A. P times 1 plus RT will give you the total. So we should know that it's going to be about 5,040, right? So you could just add it there, but just use your formula. So 4,500 times 1 plus 0.06 times 2. That should be the same. by 5,040. Yeah, see. So A is also equal to P plus I, which is 4,500 plus 540. Same deal. Anyway, this is the answer they wanted. This is the interest they wanted. Let's do it in two different ways. Okay. So the rest of these will be the same thing. Example 2, they give you the principal, the interest. This time they give you days. So they're trying to trick us there. How much did you have to pay back? That means they want the total. So that'll be A, what they want. We need principal times 1 plus RT. But we have to change time into years. So P is 600, right? R is 7.8, which is 0.078. That changes to decimal. Time though, that'll be 120 out of 365. So you got to rewrite it like this. In the homework, they should tell you like what a year is. So maybe they'll say 364 or something. It should be 365 though. So plug all of this in here, and you'll have the answer. I'm gonna write this on the paper. Example 2, P is 600. The rate is 7.8%, which will change to 0.078. Time is 120 days, which is the same as 120 out of 360 years. 65, I guess. They want to know how much he has in the future or how much he owes. So P principal, rate, time. So she borrowed $600. Formula says 1 plus RT, so 1 plus 0.078 times 120 out of 365. $615 sounds reasonable. So all of this right here, she will owe $615.39 if you round to the nearest cent. The homework should tell you the nearest dollar, nearest cent. Usually won't go to fractions of a cent. So I had 0.386. So I round to the nearest cent. All right. So whenever they put something that's not in years, make sure you change it. So we won't do 3, but notice they put 3 months. How many months is in a year? Right. So you'd have to change it to 3 out of 12 for this one. The rate will be, the rate in principle is right here. It's the same deal, right? So P is 35. Rate will be 4.5 divided by 100, which is 0.045. So that's all you got to do. They say future value. Well, that's they want the A in the formulas I gave you. So plug all this in there, and then you'll get it. So it's very formulaic. We're just plugging in. Plugging in the variables. That's it. Check out this one though. This one asks you to find a simple interest rate. So here there's going to solve, they want R. So use the R formula I gave you, right? So R is equal to capital A minus principal over time. So the rate would be, since I already gave you the formula, you just plug it in. 3863 and 25 minus 36 divided by time, but time is in 9 months. So we gotta change it. So here's A, the future amount that he paid. P, principal, what he borrowed. P, A. This is time. We gotta fix time. Time's gonna be 9 out of 12 months. So you're gonna have to plug it in like this. Then you're gonna get a decimal at the end. In your calculator, it's gonna be 38,000, no, 3,063.25 minus 3,600 divided by 9 divided by 12. So I'm getting, that's not right, hold on a second. Let's double check my formula. I'm not getting the right answer. Here's the actress formula. Subtract the P. Oh, right. One sec. So R, I had the R formula wrong. It should be A minus P over PT, which means that time would be A minus P over PR. So let's go back and fix those. Right here. Our rate should be P times T on the bottom. Sorry about that. And this should be PR. So just fix those two. For simple interest, which means this question rate will equal almost the same, A minus P over P times T. So that'll be, let's do that on paper here. So write down all the variables, example 4. P is 3,600, that's what he borrowed. He later owed 3863.25. Time is in months, so you gotta do 9 out of 12. Find rate. So we said that rate was equal to A minus P over PT, right? So that would be 3863.25 minus 3,600 over 3,600 times 9 out of 12. That'll give me the rate. So top part 3863.25 minus 3,600 divided by everything on the bottom, 3,600 times 9/12. So the interest rate is 0.0975. 0.0975. So multiply that by 100 to get your percentage. So that'll be 912.75%. So if they ask for percentage rate on the homework, multiply by 100 on your answer. If they don't, then that should be fine, I think. So just use a formula to make it easy, just plug it in. Okay. So here they're asking for principal to use the P formula that I gave you. Here is the interest rate again, so R. Just figure out what they're asking for and then write down what they gave you. And you'll just use the correct formula. So using the formulas I gave you should make it pretty easy. We'll do 7-4 next time. So this one's gonna be similar, but they're gonna compound the interest a certain number of times per year. So the formula gets a little more complicated. We'll just learn the new formula. So same types of questions though, they're gonna ask, okay, what is the rate? What is the principal? What is the future amount? You just use a different formula. And I'll give you I'll try to give you something where everything's solved, something nice. All right, man, we'll stop here.